This is the story of David Parker Ray, also known as the Toy Box Killer. He was an American serial killer, kidnapper, and torturer who operated in the state of New Mexico from the mid-1950s to the late 1990s. He is believed to have abducted and tortured dozens of women and is suspected of killing at least 2. Early life and background. David Parker Ray entered the world on a chilly November 6th of 1939 in the peaceful town of Conway, New Hampshire. Little did anyone know that this innocent child would grow up to be one of the most chilling and twisted individuals in criminal history. As the youngest of 3 children, David's family life was far from picture perfect. His father, a notorious drinker, could down a bottle of whiskey like a marathon runner gulping down water. Meanwhile, his mother, a devout Christian, found solace in her faith, seeking guidance from above to weather the storm that brewed within their home. The tempest of dysfunction finally proved too much, and David's parents decided to part ways, leaving him in the care of his mother. But life had more dark chapters in store for young David. As he grew older, the shadows cast upon his childhood deepened. The school became a battleground where bullies seemed to multiply like sinister monsters lurking in the shadows. Yet, the torment he faced at the hands of his peers paled in comparison to the horrors he endured within the walls of his own home. His father, consumed by demons of his own making, unleashed a different kind of terror upon David. The young boy became a helpless victim of both physical and sexual abuse. The wounds inflicted by his own flesh and blood cut deep into his soul, planting seeds of darkness and resentment that would fester and grow over time. From the ashes of his troubled past, a dark and sadistic personality emerged. Little did anyone know that behind the facade of an ordinary small-town boy, a monster was lurking, waiting for the opportune moment to unleash his malevolence upon the world. David Parker Ray's twisted journey had only just begun. Adulthood. After enduring a troubled childhood filled with pain and trauma, Ray's descent into darkness took a sharp turn in the mid-1950s. You see, Ray had a knack for getting into trouble, and in 1955, he found himself on the wrong side of the law for the very first time. It wasn't just a simple misunderstanding or a youthful prank. Ray's first brush with the long arm of justice was due to assault, and that was just the beginning. As the years passed, Ray's criminal activities escalated. He ventured into the darkest realms of human depravity, engaging in heinous acts such as rape and kidnapping. It seemed like there was no limit to the darkness lurking within him. But amidst the darkness, Ray managed to find a silver of normalcy. In 1960, he tied the knot with Cindy Hendy, and the couple embarked on a journey together. They built a life that appeared ordinary to outsiders. They had 2 children, and Ray even held down a job as a truck driver and mechanic. While Ray may have been leading a seemingly regular life, his true nature revealed itself on the most sinister and twisted way imaginable. In his van, he crafted a chilling setup, equipped with a diabolical sound system. It played a recording of his own voice describing the horrors that awaited his victims in his torture chamber. Once he lured unsuspecting women into his van, Ray's sickening plan would unfold. He drugged them, rendering them helpless, and then transported them to his personal house of horrors. Imagine the terror the women must have felt as they realized the nightmare they had stumbled into. Ray's very own torture chamber was nothing short of a horrifying dungeon on wheels. A large trailer, meticulously transformed into a den of unimaginable pain and suffering. Whips, chains, electric shock devices, and other ghastly instruments of torture filled every corner. This was where Ray would subject his victims to unspeakable acts, tormenting them for days, even weeks on end. But Ray's malevolence didn't stop at inflicting physical agony. He reveled in the sadistic power of control. He would record these atrocious acts, capturing the pain and degradation for his own twisted pleasure. And if that wasn't enough, he forced his victims to watch pornographic movies, amplifying their humiliation and breaking their spirits. His victims. While it's believed that he abducted and tortured numerous women, only a few have come forward, shedding light on the horrors they endured. One of those brave survivors is Angelica Montano, whose life took a terrifying turn on that fateful day, February 21st of 1999. As she hitchhiked from Albuquerque to Las Cruces, hoping for a harmless journey, little did she know that her path would intersect with Ray and his accomplice Cindy Hindi. Like a predator lurking in the shadows, they preyed on the vulnerable. Montana innocently accepted the ride, unaware of the dark intentions that lurked within their twisted minds. Their car sped along the desolate roads until it arrived at Ray's den of depravity. Nestled in the quiet town of Elephant Butte, New Mexico, behind the doors of his house, unimaginable torment awaited Montano. Ray, fueled by a sadistic desire for power, subjected her to hours of unspeakable cruelty. But sometimes, amidst the darkest of nights, a flicker of hope emerges. And so it was for Angelica Montano. Seizing a rare moment of opportunity when Ray left the room to heed nature's call, she summoned every ounce of strength and ran for her life. Desperation fueled her footsteps as she raced to a nearby sanctuary, a house that promised salvation. Trembling, she dialed the police, recounting the horrors she had just escaped. Another survivor who emerged from the clutches of David Parker Ray was a woman named Cynthia Vigil. It was March 19, 1999, an ordinary day transformed into a waking nightmare. As Vigil trudged home from work, her thoughts consumed by the mundane routines of life, fate intervened. Ray and Hindi appeared like malevolent phantoms, offering her a ride that would lead her straight into the depths of hell. Oblivious to the sinister intentions veiled beneath their smiles, she accepted their offer, unknowingly stepping into a world of unimaginable suffering. The wheels of their car carried them to the heart of Ray's twisted kingdom, his home transformed into a chamber of unspeakable horrors. For 3 agonizing days, Vigil was subjected to a macabre symphony of pain and anguish, orchestrated by Ray himself. But in the darkest of dungeons, even the tiniest glimmer of hope can ignite a spark of resilience. It was in one such moment that Vigil seized her chance. As Ray departed for work, leaving her momentarily unguarded, she summoned her strength and ran towards freedom. The sanctuary of a nearby house welcomed her with open arms, and from its refuge, she summoned the forces of justice, dialing the authorities who would become her lifeline. The arrest. Once the twisted secrets of David Parker Ray's heinous crimes were finally exposed by his victims, justice swiftly caught up with him. The trial that followed was a riveting spectacle that held the nation in suspense. The evidence against Ray was overwhelming, and the testimonies of his surviving victims were nothing short of harrowing. It didn't take long for the judge and the jury to deliver the verdict. David Parker Ray was found guilty of kidnapping and torture, the heinous crimes that had haunted the nightmares of his victims for far too long. The weight of justice came crashing down upon him as the judge announced his sentence of 223 years in prison in 2001, ensuring that he would never taste freedom again. Death in prison. Ray was stripped of his freedom and locked away behind cold, impenetrable prison walls. Yet, the story of this twisted individual did not end there. Confined to his prison cell, he lived out his remaining days, forever haunted by the echoes of his monstrous deeds. And then, in a fitting twist of fate, the final chapter of David Parker Ray's life came to an end. In 2002, within the confines of his prison cell, he took his last breath. The news of his passing stirred mixed emotions among the public. Some saw it as a relief, knowing that the world was finally rid of such a monstrous being. Others felt a sense of frustration, wishing that he had lived long enough to divulge the secrets of his undiscovered victims, providing closure to countless families who still held onto a glimmer of hope. This case is one of the most disturbing in American history. Ray was a sadistic and depraved individual who inflicted unimaginable pain and suffering on his victims. His crimes are a reminder to the evil that exists in the world, and they serve as a warning to all women to be aware of the dangers of hitchhiking and working as prostitutes.